Welcome back. You're still locked in at your Feel Good Breakfast Show, and we're continuing our discussion with lawyer and director at legalease.co.za, Aiton Stern, as he gives us guidance on the measures that can be taken when our neighbours are being a nuisance. Man, and I've got to say, I've got the perfect question for you. I mean, when it comes to disruptions in your property and everything else like that, and previously in our discussion, we happened to speak about animals, dogs, and becoming a nuisance. When is it okay to say that, well, when is it okay to say this dog is a nuisance? I need to do something about this. The neighbor's not there. What options do I have?
Sure. So, you know, with property, we have the right to enjoy our property up until the point that it is disturbing our neighbors or other people's property. So if you have a dog and the dog is barking incessantly while you're not there, you have, as a dog owner, have a responsibility to make sure that that doesn't happen. And there's a lot of ways to do that. You know, daycares, doggy therapy, hotels, take your dog with you. It's not your neighbor's problem necessarily. But as I said earlier, just because a dog barks once doesn't make it a nuisance. If it disturbs your right to enjoy your property, you can't sleep, you can't work, then it is a nuisance and you can do something about it.
So the next time a neighbor knocks on my door, it's my responsibility. I need to sort my dog out, is what you're saying. 100%. All right, I got you.
At what point would you then say we should call authorities like the SPCA because, you know, the dog is now becoming a nuisance and disturbing our peace and our space?
Sure. So the SPCA, fantastic organization, and it's their job to make sure that, you know, animals are safe. And that's something really important to remember. Their job is not to control the peace in society. You know, we've got the police for that. Their job is to make sure animals are safe. So you can call the SPCA not just because a dog barks, but where you think that a dog is in danger or in trauma. So if someone has left their dog at home for 5 days and gone on holiday and just left their dog somewhere at home, call the SPCA. But if you live in a mansion in Camps Bay and your next door neighbor in their mansion has a dog that's barking, please don't waste the SPCA's time. Go over, knock on the door, say, sorry, neighbor, please can you keep your dog down? And I think we forget that, and especially now when people are at home, everyone's agitated, COVID, it's been a hard time. Just, you know, let's not forget that neighbors are, you know, we have to have good relationships with them. So try that first. If that doesn't work, SPCA, but please don't waste their time. And, you know, you always have the police.
All right, so I just got to recap, because I think this is actually very valuable information. A lot of us don't know if we even have the right to complain, as you've just mentioned. So I like the fact that you mentioned that. I just want to run through that one more time. So just to be on the same page as you, your guidance would be chat to your neighbor first, have a conversation before you take it that step further. And if you're not confident, or if it is continually disturbing your homely space, then potentially maybe take it a step further with authorities, right?
Yeah, 100%. Look, we live in cities and in societies, and this is always going to be a thing of balancing our rights against other people's. So you have a right to enjoy your space, and you have a right to have a dog. Your neighbor has a right to enjoy their space and to have a dog. So where you are stepping into someone's enjoyment, so, you know, noise at night or unreasonable amounts of prolonged noise or disturbance, then that is not allowed according to the laws, and you can check the bylaws of your specific neighborhood. Then you can report it to the police, and if an animal is in danger, report it to the SPCA. And I'll go as far as to say, if you're going to report something to the SPCA, consider donating to the SPCA as well.
All right, well, indeed. Listen, Aiton, I know obviously everybody can reach out to you at legalease.co.za for any more questions, but I've got one that's just come in through from Josephine Pixton on our social media channel. So she says sometimes neighbors can complain unnecessarily. Like one morning I was vacuuming and the neighbor came over and said, your vacuum is too loud, I can't hear my TV.
Okay.
What is it? Because you're trying to watch Expresso. Like,
My advice would be chill, Winston. No, so it's a great example. Vacuuming, it's not going to be prolonged unless this person is vacuuming 24 hours a day. It's probably going to be half an hour of vacuuming. It's not prolonged. It's a reasonable noise, and if they're vacuuming in the middle of the day, not 3 in the morning, I think that's totally legitimate. If they start vacuuming from 3 to 5 in the morning, that would be considered a nuisance.
Okay, so me as the person in the house being complained to, if I'm making food in the blender or vacuuming, I shouldn't feel that bad then, because I'm just living my life, right?
For sure.
You want to say something? I feel like this is an open space where you want to say something.
I think there's a little message going to the neighbor at 7 p.m.
Watching neighbor, leave me alone.
Yeah, I think that, you know, a lot in the law, and especially in these things of nuisance, come down to the what we call the reasonable person test. What would the reasonable person do in this instance? And if your actions are reasonable, and you're just living in your space and using your blender, then that's life. If your neighbors don't like that, they should move to quieter, you know, areas or move out into the countryside. But, you know, it's always going to be a balance of, you know, treat your neighbors as you treat yourself, I believe has been said. And realize that while you're making a noise now, they could be making noise later, and it's going to have to be this kind of push and pull.
Be considerate and be kind. I think that's what we'll take away from this. 8 and Stern, always good to connect with you, and so good to connect with you guys as well. Expresso Morning Show, SABC3.